Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusters.pod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
So, when are we going to spend the lovely Patreon money on buying a blue tick on Twitter, guys?
We're never going to ever do that.
It's like the most confusing thing in the world at the moment, and it's horrible, and it defeats the whole object of the whole thing.
It's pure desperation to be noticed on a social media platform. I don't care. Why would I want to be noticed with a little blue tick that means nothing?
It's just, I don't know, weird that you can just buy it. Like, I don't know. Can anyone just buy it?
Well, it's just
if you've got the money.
It's just monetizing everything, isn't it? Everything's got to be monetized nowadays. It's like all computer games have to be monetized. They're like, oh yeah, we can get money. Let's get microtransactions. Let's find any way to squeeze any pennies out of everyone.
It is because everything is in a loss. Like YouTube is in like $1 million hole. That's why even their ad revenue. That's why YouTube had to change their model. It's like pay a subscription to get no ads, or you have to watch ads. It's the only way that these companies can make money.
That kind of makes sense, on YouTube, because that is a thing that you go, oh, that is annoying when ads pop up. So I can understand like someone to be like, okay, I can actually get rid of these now. But choosing to like have a little small tick and pay for that, and it's like, fuck off, man.
I mean, I get why famous people do it, so that they can make sure that there's not a false. Funnily enough, here's a good example, right? You know the guy who plays Garth Marenghi?
Yeah.
He's doing his book tour at the moment, Matthew Holness, and loads of venues. If you go on his Twitter account, you will see that he had to message loads of venues and say, please can you untag the original account that you tagged and tag this one, because that other person's an impersonator. And in the old days, I could see why someone like him should then pay for verification so people know. But now, every motherfucker's going to have a blue tick. It's like, well, which one do I tag in? And if one says, no, I'm the real Garth Marenghi, and the other one's like, no, I'm the real Garth Marenghi, I'm Spartacus, it'll be that kind of fucking thing on Twitter.
If you can click it and see how it goes, but yeah, it's just...
Who's got time to click onto the ticks of every account?
Yeah. But I don't know how... So if you're a celebrity... You can get a blue tick just by being verified, I guess. You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You do now under
So you
Musk.
still have to pay for it if you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
Oh God, man.
I know. But the thing is, arguably, the celebrities can afford it, but I guess it's the principle of the thing, isn't it?
It totally takes away like anything from that tick. It like that showed a sign of like recognition of this is an account that holds up its values, and it's got a lot of followers, and it holds up its reputation, and it's like now it could be anything.
I know.
Stupid.
It means absolutely fuck all. If one of you suddenly logged onto Twitter tomorrow and you had a blue tick, I would think you'd lost your mind.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like, what does it mean? It doesn't matter for us. It
kind
only
of
matters
bell end at the moment.
Yeah. You need to be someone of note. I hate it when you see a blue tick. Anyway, this is pre-Musk. Whenever you saw someone with a blue tick who wasn't famous, and like you click on their bio and it's like, oh, journalist for something. It's like, get off your high horse, man. Nobody cares if you're verified. You mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
Are you famous? Are you famous? I only care about famous people. Get out of my way, scum.
Are you famous?
Yeah. Anyway, Adam, how was your birthday?
It was lovely, thank you very much. I got some lovely gifts from you two.
Yes, we discussed the mug.
We got the mug that we've seen previously, that came all the way from Germany. And a lovely little Ben over here got me a membership to the Prince Charles Cinema.
Aw, cute.
Prince Charles. And now you can go and book some tickets for the David Lynch all-nighter.
There's many
bet you
David
can't
Lynch
wait.
films being shown at the moment.
There is. Like, they're doing one late November, I think, of 5 or 6 of his back-to-back through the night. That
Are you
would
going?
be too much for me.
Wow.
No. I couldn't do it.
That's
It's
a
not
surreal
the
night.
kind of... Yeah. I always said I could do a Twin Peaks marathon. Consistent. I couldn't do like all of his films binge because it's just that's too much. You wouldn't be able to take it in.
You'll be having some weird dreams. You fell asleep in that theatre,
I know.
and then woke up and been like, "What the fuck am I?"
I'd be living in the fucking dream. What else you get, Adam?
I got a fleece, a lovely little fleece. I'm getting
Fleas. Well,
Fleece.
you should have cleaned that dog before you let it in the house.
I've got an air fryer.
Explain what
nice.
one of those is to me.
I've got one at the moment, but it's small and very basic. So my parents have bought me a proper one, and they're just so good. Like, it is so much better than any. Like, it takes like 1 minute to warm up. You can just cook something immediately in it. Really easy to clean down. Better on the electric. It's a slow cooker. It's like a pressure cooker. It's a steamer. Yeah.
I don't understand
we
how it
haven't used
works. What is it? It replaces a frying pan?
It replaces an oven effectively, or a slow cooker, or you can grill in it. Like, it's just
Can you burn something in it?
yeah, but you'll take forever to burn it because the whole idea is that it makes stuff really crispy on the outside because of the way it's cooked. So if you're cooking
Right.
potatoes, for example, they'll be extra crispy because it's the air. It's like almost
So you're giving a bit of chicken windburn.
well, yeah, and it's cooked beautifully because it stays succulent in the middle and crispy.
I
On
don't know how it works. I
I don't know
how it
the
works.
science behind it, but when you start using them, you sound like a knob because like they are absolutely fantastic. Like, you don't have to
I
let
don't
an
get the
oven warm up.
benefit of it though.
Air fry. Are you putting oil in it?
You don't use any oil in it.
So how is it
You
fried?
don't use any oil.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
don't get how
air.
it's frying.
Because you fry something in like you shallow fry, right? Or you deep fry, and that's in oil. So you're fried in the air?
This is what I don't get. I don't get the air concept.
Adam doesn't know.
No,
either.
he doesn't. We've shut him off, haven't we?
I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know the science. That's why I buy one and cook with it. But they are great, and yeah, you don't need to use oil. I think it's the way it's all set up. So, yeah,
Fantastic. So it's the way it's set up, basically.
So basically,
they are a lot better than like a normal oven and all that kind of shit.
I'm looking at a picture of it, and it looks like a mini saucepan that then slides into a unit, and it says the top section of an air fryer holds a heating mechanism and fan. You place the food in a fryer style basket, and when you turn it on, hot air rushes down and around the food. This rapid circulation makes the food crisp, much like deep frying, but without the oil. See, I like that. If it's essentially it's a deep fryer without the
Cook
oil.
everything in it. Like,
Yeah, I tell
fish
you,
is really nice in it. Like bits of salmon fillets. Like,
it looks like a
everything's
pain in
lovely.
the arse to have to clean.
you just put the thing in the dishwasher.
Why would you not use an oven? I don't get it. I don't cover things in oil in the oven. Like, if I put potatoes in the oven or chips in the oven, I don't then put oil on top of the chips. So
to
how's
make
it any
it crispy,
different?
you would have to.
I never.
Well, then you're not getting crispy chips.
I am. Maybe your oven is shit.
Well, that's the thing, though. You got an oven. It's a fan assisted oven,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that's pretty much the
But
same
it
thing.
takes like a minute to warm up as well, which is fantastic. It's easy to
I'm
clean.
not that much in a rush to cook chips.
Do you know the negative though? You're losing your counter space with that.
Yes.
You can put it in the cupboard.
Quite. You're losing cupboard space.
What cupboard? Lose a whole cupboard space.
Then you can replace stuff with
How many
it.
cupboards
Like,
you got?
you get rid of your slow cooker. You get rid of whatever. I don't know. Steamer. All that kind of stuff. Have you got a steamer?
Anyway, I get it now. His parents got it for him because this is the next step up into him learning how to cook properly, like chopping things up and preparing nicely
that
and using
anyway.
an oven. You don't. We
I
already
do.
established that Chelsea does it all.
Chelsea doesn't do any of the cooking. When we're together, she doesn't like cooking.
You're such a liar.
She doesn't
Adam.
like
know.
cooking. She doesn't find it enjoyable.
I've seen
I do.
you. I've seen you.
Yeah, when I was at home, when living with all the guys, yeah, I used to make like student meals.
Listen, when I saw Chelsea at my wedding, she was telling me how she likes to make a nice chicken parmesan,
She's never made. She's
and
never made.
that's your favourite meal.
It's never been my favourite meal either. I make all the best stuff.
Absolute liar.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, happy birthday anyway,
thank you
Adam.
very much.
Happy birthday. Enjoy your
I
air
will,
fryer.
and I'll cook you one day in it.
Cook you in it.
A pancake. A pancake with an egg in it, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
No, he
Exactly.
said he's going to cook you one day in it. That's a threat, Paul.
Yeah.
That's a lot of counter space if you're cooking me in there.
I'll chop you up into little pieces and stack you up in it.
Jesus. This is the evidence right here.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we swiftly move on to what we're actually talking about today?
I hope so. I hope we'll do that.
Okay. Well, before we get to that, let's just say quickly, we've got a Patreon channel. You can get to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, where you can get exclusive content, exclusive episodes. You get to come on the show. You get to just basically get really
You
fun,
get to run the show.
exclusive things from us. Yeah, you can run the show pretty much. And guess what? You can get loads of stuff just for £1. You can get over 40 episodes just for £1. But there's many different tiers on there, and it's all a very lovely place. We've got some very lovely people, nice little family over there. And what we're doing today after this episode on the Patreon, Adam.
We are going to talk about our favourite films of October that we watched. We do this every month. It's a little roundup. If you're lucky enough, you can see our faces sometimes. If you pay enough money for that.
Oh, yes.
But yes, that's what we do.
But all the monthly episodes are available just for £1. So
Yeah.
you could see this immediately after this episode.
We have also
if you
recently
fancy.
changed our tiers and what you get. So if you looked before, look again.
Yes. It's a lot more benefits now.
Yeah.
So
Come and
head
join.
over there,
Come and join.
www.patreon.com/filmbusters, and have a bit of fun. Ben, should we do our staple of every episode?
Staple of every episode is the quiz. New listeners and old listeners alike. Every episode I ask the boys 2 questions. If they get the questions right, they get a point. If they get the questions wrong, I get the point. We're running towards the end of the year, and at the end of the year, whoever's got the most amount of points becomes the host next year. Currently, it's looking like that's going to be Paul, because he's on 29 points. But I'm in second place with 24, and Adam's in third place with 22. The questions are always about the film that we're covering that week. This week's film is Blue Steel. Are you ready for the first question, boys?
Yes.
I know someone was paying attention to this.
Oh, I hope so.
As a rookie cop, what is Turner's badge number?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe I should write that down, but I never did.
42069.
Oh, 69.
Yeah. I mean, he's gone for weed and sex as the number combination there. He's
I
wrong.
feel like if you're going to make it a number, they're probably going to make that. If it was made today, it would definitely be that in a Seth Rogen film.
Yeah. And Paul, what would your guess be then?
It's gonna
I'll
be-
tell you what, he's right in that it's 5 digits long.
Okay. 6, 8,
Yeah.
5, 4,
Yeah.
3.
Do you know what?
I
You got the
just-
second. You got the
I
second
just-
and the third
I just
digit
end up
right.
ascending numbers at the end. I didn't even realise.
It's 88552. I was so sure of it that as I was watching the movie, I was like, well, I know both boys, or particularly Paul, is
really?
probably going to make a note of that badge number.
Yeah.
I did kind of want to, but I just never did.
There you go. So that's a point to me.
Well
Next
done.
question. Tom Sizemore's criminal, who gets blown away by Turner early in the film, is called what in the credits?
Oh, man.
Blown away cop. Crook.
No,
Robber.
you're both wrong. The answer is wool cap.
Wall cap?
Wool cap, because he's wearing a wool cap.
Right,
Wool.
wool cap.
Wool.
This is the worst
Wool.
quiz I've ever been in my life.
What are you talking about? That is a wonderful question. Wool cap is he referred to? He's not
Look
even
at
doing
that,
the name.
Mr. Wall cap.
Mr. Woolcap. Do you know what that means, boys? It means I have gotten both points this week, and that makes things pressurised on Paul again.
Just
Paul's
like an air
29 at the
fryer.
top. Yes. Paul is that heated fan at the top of an air fryer, applying pressure to me and Adam. And what happens in an air fryer? It makes what's below crisp up and swell
Makes
and get
diamonds.
bigger.
So is Adam crisping up right now?
Adam's like the pan at the bottom, just holding onto my chicken fillet.
What an analogy.
Yes. So it's 29 to Paul, 26 to Ben, 22 to Adam, all to play for as we
Adam's
come into this
slipping
final
away.
stretch.
Adam's slipping very far away.
Adam is slipping.
How is anyone meant to get these right, these bullshit questions?
No, well, listen. All you need do... Did either of you watch the credits of this film?
No.
They did roll up pretty quickly suddenly. Yeah, I did watch it for a bit.
How could you not watch the credits? Like, they overlaid the final shot.
Because as soon as the film does that, I'm like, I skip a little bit forward and see if anything's happening. and then I just turn the thing off.
Oh, you need to sit and allow the credits a couple. This is a conversation to be had another time. But when a film ends, I'm not for shutting it off or walking off. I need to sit for a minute or two with the music. Just decompress a little. Allow the music to send me on my way. See if there's anything of particular note with those cast members.
I want them to give me the freeze frame credits with the actors' names over the stills.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you wish it was Predator.
That would have been nice.
Anyway, that's it.
Well, congrats. Should we move on to the film?
No, I'm annoyed now.
Let's do it.
This poor guy bought it on the Upper West Side tonight. If it wasn't so bold, it would be stupid. Wish all homicides were this easy. Give me an answer to this.
I have no idea.
Get an idea.
Get 2 ideas.
Think, Megan.
Hard.
Aren't there any other Megan Turners in New York?
Yeah, one. Megan Augusta Turner, 86 years old, lives in a nursing home in the Bronx. We're checking, but I'd say it's an exercise. Doesn't sound like the kind of girl that gets her name put on a bullet.
I don't think of myself as the kind of girl who gets her name on a bullet either.
Learn something new about yourself every day. Where were you around midnight?
Sleep.
The officers woke her up, Nick.
Okay. Come on, Megan. You're a pretty girl. Maybe you threw over somebody, had a violent streak, an old boyfriend or something. What, no old boyfriends? Had a personal problem? All right, how about an acquaintance?
Look, I don't know anybody. My mom, my dad, my friend Tracy, her husband John. I mean...
Current boyfriend?
No. You know, there's a chance it's not me.
True. Could be Augusta, 86. I mean, maybe this perp has got a thing for oxygen tanks, but I doubt it. I think somebody out there likes you.
Hello everyone, today we're talking about Blue Steel from 1990 by Catherine Bigelow. This is a spoiler episode, so if you've not seen the film, then we're going to spoil it terribly for you. So you might want to go watch it, come back, and enjoy everything we have to offer. Before we move on to Adam's plot description, I'm going to talk about some people who've been on episodes we've done before on this podcast. First of all, it's an obvious one. Jamie Lee Curtis.
What's she been in?
3 films. What could they possibly be?
I'm clueless.
Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Do you have any more guesses for people who have been in this film that have done other episodes?
So Clancy Brown, but I can't think what he's been in.
He's been in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh, I see. Who was
he in that?
I don't remember
where. I don't remember.
I mean, I could believe it. He has that aesthetic.
Yeah, especially with that name.
Now, here's one. Doesn't Clancy Brown sound like he should be like a black musician?
I was about to say that, like a blues singer.
Yeah, I could see that.
Who am I thinking of? There's someone called Clancy something.
No
who
idea.
is a black musician.
No idea.
From like the 50s.
I cannot help you.
Adam, bring your musical knowledge.
I don't know.
Oh, you fucking rubbish. Hang on. Black
Mr.
musician, Clancy. Nothing comes up. Forget it.
Well, you'll never know. Any more
Pissed.
guesses for other people?
I'm guessing. I don't
What's
know
his name? He was in a film and you said, oh my god, I've watched so many films with him in recently.
Oh, Tom Sizemore. Yeah, he's been all over.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tom,
have
he's
we
been in
done
another
him?
film. Another film we've done before.
Has he? Oh, let me think.
We always return to this same group of films when we find actors in other film.
It's not a Marvel one, is it? I don't believe he would do Marvel.
No. He's in the Tony Scott run.
Oh, True Romance.
Yes, correct. We have one more
That's
person.
where everybody has been in these films.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a person who's also been in one of the best shows ever.
Sopranos.
What? Who's in this film?
Yeah.
6
Well,
Feet
we've already
Under.
said Tom Sizemore. He was in Twin Peaks: The Return.
No, we're
Oh,
talking
well.
about Richard Jenkins, who plays the lawyer
Oh yeah, what movies he been in that we've done?
in one of my favourite films that we done the podcast that you guys don't like.
Joker.
Burn After Reading.
Burn After Reading. Yes, he's
Very
the gym
good.
manager. There you go. That's
Very
it.
good.
That's everyone. Adam, plot summary, please.
Quite a mix there.
This film is about Jamie Lee Curtis.
End.
Yeah.
And that nugget got stuck in his throat.
No, this film is about Jamie Lee Curtis, who's a cop, and she's trying to track down a bad person, but the bad person's like, oh, I love you, I want to hang out with you, I'm going to stalk you.
All right, sir.
Fuck me. It's true. There you go. That's it. Ben, do you have anything interesting to say about this film?
Okay. So this was directed by Catherine Bigelow and produced by Oliver Stone. After Near Dark, Blue Steel was Bigelow's induction into the Hollywood mainstream of movie making. Though filming in New York and the movie studio's flailing fortunes meant production was far from smooth sailing. Her intention was a new slant on a familiar genre. So she said, Catherine Bigelow said, it all began with the idea of doing a woman's action film. Not only has no woman ever done an action thriller, no woman has ever been at the centre of one as the central character. From that takeoff, deciding to put a woman in the centre, we worked out what the ramifications would be. Nonetheless, while she did say that Blue Steel was a progression of the genre, she downplays its progression of gender, saying, I subscribe to feminism emotionally and I sympathise with the struggles for equity, but I think there's a point where the ideology is dogmatic. So I'm not saying Blue Steel is a feminist tract per se, but there's a political conscience behind it. That's a very convoluted way of saying something incomprehensible, I think. But I just wanted to take her words there. Catherine Bigelow actually used to be a painter, and I think there's a strong whiff of like her painter origins in this because there's a lot of colour theory in a lot of the scenes. It's been noted that the character of Eugene shares a lot of similarities with Son of Sam serial killer David Berkowitz, such as being referred to as the 44 Magnum Killer, killing in New York, hearing voices before he kills. Jamie Lee Curtis and Clancy Brown both shadowed the New York Police Department for weeks in preparation for the film, and the film was not a box office success at all. And finally, Wilhelm von Homburg was considered for the role of Eugene, but was unavailable due to filming commitments as Vigo the Carpathian in Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we could have had Vigo the Carpathian as the villain in this instead.
That would have changed things up a bit.
It would have.
And why is Catherine acting like Aliens didn't come out?
So I had a thought about that, and I think what she's saying is rather than a genre piece of like that's a sci-fi.
Right. She wants
it's a female action film. I know what you mean because obviously we have James Cameron doing that brilliantly, but I think it's more like let's put a woman front and centre of an action thriller.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is your pick, Ben, so you get to decide whose order you want, whose first impression first, second, and last.
We're going to jumble it all up. So Adam's going to go first, I'm going to go middle, and Paul, you're going to go last.
Okay.
So, I don't really know how I feel about this film.
Oh dear.
Jamie Lee Curtis is absolutely fantastic in it. She's brilliant. But apart from that, I couldn't really give a shit about anything else and kind of almost remember anything else that happened in this film. It is just the Jamie Lee Curtis show, in my opinion. And she's way too good for this film. And the character and everything she does in it, it's just like it's almost on a different level to everything else in this film. She's given it everything and no one else can seem to be bothered to give a shit, in my opinion. It's a bit weird. I got a lot lost, but distracted and bored. But yeah, I don't know. Let's talk. That's my opinion. That's my hot take. That's going to go in the NME next week in the movie review section.
Okay, that was a hot take. I thought you would like it more than that, actually. For me, I thought this was thrilling. I really expected... I don't know why I did, but I expected this to be a bit more of a cheese fest thriller, like something a bit more typical, but what I got was something much grittier and subversive. This female cop who's got pressure within the job from her colleagues after the shooting, pressure from her family who don't want her to be police, pressure from her best friend who wants her to fill the traditional female role of, just get a boyfriend when you're going to have kids, being boxed in and obsessed over by a man with a gun fetish. And I think even though it strays sometimes from like action thriller to almost like a repurposed slasher, I think it works better than most horror films because the terror is very, very real. Particularly for Jamie Lee Curtis, for women, the terror that women face. And I think, personally, yes, you're right, that it is the Jamie Lee Curtis show to an extent, but I think, even beyond that, apart from Halloween, I think this is the best thing she's ever done. Apart from her participation in Halloween. And I think that the side characters, whether it's Clancy Brown as Nick or that guy Ron Silver who plays Eugene, I think they are so layered and three-dimensional, it feels like a complete package. It's not like, oh, just Jamie's holding up the film. And I can totally imagine, I don't know if you feel this way, we'll see, but I can totally imagine people not liking Eugene and seeing him being over the top and ridiculous. And I had some concerns about how they started handling his characters, but actually I thought by the end, I thought it was a great portrayal of a truly unhinged man. And of course, with Catherine Bigelow behind the camera and Jamie Lee Curtis in front of the camera, the female point of view is it's not just like this helpless fucking woman, although she is being put upon. She can fight back. She's clever. She's smart. She's got her police training. She knows what to do and what not to do. We see her blow several people away, not because she's trigger happy, but because she's just as good as the men. She doesn't need to rely on the men to help her. I think it's a very efficient thriller. I think the twists and the turns and the shocks that come from Eugene's character really fucking worked for me. Like halfway through the film, the fact that he reveals his intentions to her, I was like, where does this film go now? Because I thought we were just going to build up to that to the end, but he revealed it and then the film moved in a different direction and I really appreciated it. I had a couple of problems with it, which we'll go into, but I was very happy with it.
Interesting. Okay. So from the off, I was into this film. Like the ethereal score, like the cold metal visuals of the gun in the titles. I also quite like the trope of having a policeman going through like hostage situations, only to realise it's like a training exercise. I like that kind of trope in films. It's nice. I get a little kick out of that. Jamie Lee Curtis is lovable as fuck, as she always is, and she has a sense of like swagger about her in this film, especially when she's walking down the street that first time she gets her uniform on, and everyone's like looking at her. It's very, very welcome. I like it. And then something strange happened. This man, this psychotic killer, played by Ron Silver, he shows up, and I say, fuck me. This is a guy that was just in the film Time Cop, which I really didn't like. And I really didn't like him. And in that film, and in this film, he plays exactly the same character. He's this smarmy businessman with this, like, he's kind of a little bit cocky, and I hated him. I hated him in Time Cop, and it just carried over from that film to this film. I was like, fuck me, he's in this film as well.
Oh dear.
And you would think that, that would help this film as he's like playing a bad guy, but it just annoys me. Whenever I see his face, it really annoyed me. And I think I don't think he really went anywhere from these two films. I think Time Cop might have come after this or before this, but it probably was after this actually. But they just were like, yeah, do that same thing you did. And I was like, oh, fuck me, man. It's like, in this, he's attempting to play some like offshoot Patrick Bateman character. Like he's just this businessman who just loses it. And it's like, but if Patrick Bateman's, his actions are actually in the public eye, yeah, it's corny and just happening for no apparent reason at all. And it really put me off this film because of it. And then it just started aggravating me as to why everyone was so against Curtis's character. Like, I just kept seeing everything as a flaw in this film. And it's like, why aren't you believing her? And it's like, once again, it's based in reality, women in the workplace. But I'd already been annoyed by Ron Silver, so it was annoying me. Right? The fact that she just let her dad off, even though he'd clearly been beating her for years, that annoyed me. But
yes.
It's probably Ron Silver's fault. The rape scene, hated it. Because Ron Silver was there and he was doing the raping. Mm-hmm. Ron Silver ruined this film for me, and he might be a quite nice guy in real life, but to me right now, you're a smarmy fuck. I don't like you.
So he ruined this film for you?
He ruined the film for me. I saw him and I was like, fuck, man.
You did ruin the film.
Same guy.
One character can do that much bad in the film.
Yeah.
See, it's like the Corey thing in Halloween Ends. If you don't like Corey and you're not on board with Corey, that's just going to ruin the film for you.
he's the centerpiece. He's what's revolving around Jamie Lee Curtis in the film, and I'm like, oh man, I just don't like you.
Do you know what? Let me tell you this. That I may be showing my cards early.
Yeah.
I honestly think he is going to be my best character of all these films when we do the wrap up. I get what you're saying, and I could see how you take it that way. Just like with Corey, you either like him or you don't. But at first, when we're introduced to him, and he picks that gun up, and we see him at the stock market, I thought, oh, this is interesting. It's quite subdued. It's like someone who's tantalized by the gun and the idea of now having it. And then he went real quickly and killed that man, and it was like, oh, right, that came out of nowhere. But then the more we saw him, it was like, no, the fact that he's waiting for Jamie Lee Curtis as well and gets involved in her life and takes her up in that helicopter, and you can see his state of mind, which is people are fucking ants. People are beneath me. He works in this real high-pressured stockbroker environment where this pressure cooker has been going off inside of him, which has forced him to become this way. I think he's unhinged anyway, but the environment he works in, highly stressful, has finally flipped him. And this fetishization of the gun and her seeing her blow this guy away has made this psychosexual connection for him with her and the gun. And the more he became unhinged, the more I went with it. I was like, I can actually believe this. And every time he popped up in that second act, after he reveals who he is to her, I was like, fuck. When he pops up behind her and kills her friend, I was like, I did not see that coming. When he's waiting for her at Jamie Lee Curtis's parents' house, I was like, oh my God, this is almost unbearable. I sort of shouted out loud. I'm by myself. And I was like, oh my God, because I couldn't believe how he kept coming back like that. It was like a Michael Myers type thing of, there he is again, stalking. It did go over the top in moments, but I had bought into his like descent enough for it not to irritate me.
See, for me, I don't think it laid the cards well enough for me to actually buy into why he was like he was.
It just felt a bit weird. It felt like
I think you're reading into it more than it's actually giving you, right? Because you're just saying, oh, it's because everyone's beneath him, blah blah blah. But I think it just happened, and he decided he just wanted to do it one day, and that's not a good enough reason for me. He just deciding, and then suddenly he's got all these trouble with his mind, and he's like hearing voices and stuff, and it's like, where did this come from? It's just suddenly just happening. And then when he appeared behind Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, oh, okay, you're surprising me now. I didn't see this coming. That's surprising. But then everyone around Jamie Lee Curtis, it was annoying me. It was like, just believe this woman, right? Clearly this guy is fucking stalking her. Clearly he tried to fabricate a relationship with her, right? And he's doing something dodge. Why is no one believing her? And then by the time he shows up in the mum and dad's house, like, of course it's led to this. Like, Sonny's just showing up. Why is no one giving her any kind of protection from this person? But like, come on.
And then, I know, but that is the frustration of life. In 1990, Catherine Bigelow saying, women aren't believed. Even now, we know when women complain about things, men stalking them, harassing them, they're not believed or they're not taken seriously. So 32 years ago in a film about a female police officer, like, it's very easy. It may be frustrating, but true to life, that her peers, her colleagues, people like lawyers are like, we don't trust you, we don't believe you. You know, Nick Mann had her back. He was skeptical, but he was like, work alongside me. I'm gonna watch you. He did. The people who didn't really believe her is Richard Jenkins, terrible lawyer. His self-interest is his client, so of course not. The superior at the station wanted to fire her because, he's probably a bit sexist, and he's like, emotional woman. But it was set up well enough for it not to just be, they didn't believe the woman. The fact that there was no gun at the scene was a great twist, which I didn't see coming after that.
Bullshit. There was 3 other people there.
I know, but only one witness would speak to them, and the one witness said it could have been a gun, it could have been a knife. I couldn't tell.
Oh, fuck that shit. He had a fucking gun in his hand, pointing it.
There is too many holes in this film.
There is so many. You cannot deny that he's not carrying a gun. He's waving it around. He's probably standing there for about 10 minutes. It's like, you can understand what's a gun and a knife. It's like that. They needed that just so they can make the story happen. They could have made it a little bit more believable, where maybe he's hiding it in his jumper or something. But it was out in full show, and you could see it. And he points the gun. He's talking to the police officer, and he points the gun at her as well. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he does. But if there is no gun to be found at the scene when the police turn up,
but that is
dead body,
just not believing your police officer and not believing the witnesses as well. But that's it. The film wants you to believe. Oh yeah, none of the witnesses want to come forward. It's fine.
Okay,
even though the criminal's dead.
All right, but then let's put that in modern day sensibilities, right? Hot button, hot topic. Let's assume. Oh, fuck. I don't know if I want to go here. Yeah, fuck it. In the George Floyd situation, right? Let's say that cop who was kneeling on his neck said he had a gun pointed at us, and one or two witnesses around there were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that he had a gun pointed at the cop, and then there's no gun to be found, no evidence that he had a gun, other than a couple of eyewitnesses saying, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a gun. Would we be satisfied if the police force came out and said we just have to support our officer?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You're always going to be outraged at the one who's clearly in the right.
Yes, I know.
In this situation, I'm outraged because the guy clearly had a gun.
I know.
And I think it's just an easy way out that they can make the story go in the right direction. And it's just that she was getting stopped at every kind of turn she made, and in a better film with a better villain, I could be with that. But it's just the fact that this guy, I did not believe him to be. Well, I didn't believe his path from where he was. He just suddenly was erratic and out of control. Where he was just this guy, he was in a supermarket just shopping, and he's working in the stock market.
But that's exactly it, mate, isn't it? This could be anyone. As far as we,
but there's no like kind of progression. It just
Are you
happens.
telling me the minute that you saw that man in the supermarket, you weren't sus?
The minute I saw that man, I was like, "Fuck me! Why is this guy from Time Cop in this?"
Well, yeah. By the way, I checked. Time Cop is 4 years later, so
yeah,
this film did it first.
He's gone downhill, hasn't he, from here?
Well, yeah. But the minute that we saw him, we have no prior for him, so that's all we got. So the first interaction with him is him hitting the floor. We can see he's kind of obsessed by the situation, and he sneaks the gun off. Already, that's clear. There's no character building up to that point for him, so that's our entry point for him. So already we know he's unhinged. When you see him on the stock market screaming and sweating and looking like he's about to pass out, it's that high pressure environment. I think it's exactly what the writer of American Psycho was trying to say as well, is these high pressured, emotionless career paths where there's a lot of money at stake, high stress environments where it's largely men around men. It attracts people of a certain disposition, psychopaths, sociopaths, people operating off of drugs and speed and cocaine and high-fueled alcohol. He has no family to speak of. He lives alone, just like Jamie Lee Curtis lives alone, dedicated to her job. He's the flip of her. He's absolutely dedicated to his job, but he's dedicated to the way of life that comes with it, which is high-stress, high-octane environment. All he needed, it was almost like he just needed the final thing to make him snap, and the final thing that makes him snap is seeing this woman connected to a gun where he has this twisted fucking addiction fetish for, blowing this man away, and he then connects sex, attraction, violence with his like baser instincts. And that's it took me a while to connect that. I obviously didn't know that at first, but by the time you see that he is drawing her into this weird perverted game, inviting her to dinner and stuff, it became quite clear that he'd blurred the lines in his head. And I bought The Descent, and even though it went outlandish, I bought it enough to enjoy it. I bought it not on a, this is very realistic level, but on a, this is entertaining me level. Like him popping up at the parents later and stuff like that, and popping up on the stairwell. In real life, of course, it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, of course she didn't see him. And oh yeah, it's convenient that Jamie Lee Curtis was out with her dad. I mean, that was the whole reason Jamie Lee Curtis went out with her dad. It was just for us to get that reveal of him being there when she gets back. But it was entertaining. I found that very entertaining by that point in the film. That's what I mean. It kind of shifts up to the point where he reveals his true intentions. It's like a film of two halves. The first half is kind of like drama, psychological. The second half becomes more of a thriller, over the top thriller. And I enjoyed both parts of it. But I do take your point and complaints about him.
Recently, Ben, you have such a good way of describing films. Like that film you described there is a million times better than the film I watched here.
But that is the film that you watch. It's just that's how I enjoyed it.
The way, I mean, I guess if you saw all of that straight away, I don't think I saw all of that straight away, but that sounds, it sounds correct. And like you just talking about these films recently is like much more entertaining than the actual film itself.
Well, maybe I should be a fucking filmmaker then.
You should be. And get your points across.
You could have improved this, yes.
Tell me your thought. You haven't said anything about this man.
I just didn't believe him. I just didn't really... It just felt all just so... This is happening. It felt a bit lazy and a bit just, okay, he's now suddenly obsessed with her. And I get why, but at the same time, it just felt... for me, it just felt like they've got her... They got Jamie Lee Curtis to sign up for a film, and they're like, what can we do? We'll give her this. And apart from that, they didn't really think of much more. I knew it would probably make money, but apart from that, that's where the kind of the fault in this film stopped.
I mean, it didn't make bank, man. It was a box office fucking failure.
I know, but they thought it might do. I just didn't believe him.
I agree with what Adam says about I don't know why you're so obsessed with her either. I did not get the reason. Like, yes, he saw her kill someone, but it's like, so you're making a link that you're the same kind of person because you killed someone? It's like, it's a bit of a weak link to be so obsessed with someone.
In that moment, I think it was a chemical snap for him because he suddenly saw there's a reason that they over-dramatized that blowing away. Like, it was so over the top. She shot him to shit. He flew through the glass window. It was very elaborate, and I didn't think that was for an audience at home to be going, oh yeah, fuck yeah. It clearly wasn't that. It was almost like to be like, look how dramatic and explosive this moment is for Eugene on the floor. There's the gun in front of him. It's almost like a sexy secret that he pockets it. You know what I mean? And when he's looking at that gun and whatnot, he's connected her very much to this moment where things have snapped for him. Like, I think he was on the brink of being this person. Like, everyone has got to have that first kill, right? Before they go mad. He was on the brink. That happened. He connects it to her.
I just feel like they could have laid the breadcrumbs a bit better, because I don't feel like the pathway from him just shopping in the supermarket, then he's going to, yes, he's in like a high energy job, but I wanted to see a little bit of breakdown before he decided to kill someone. He just got the gun and then he just took it out and killed someone.
I was surprised that he killed that person as like that. I thought he was actually just going to point the gun at him and enjoy him being scared.
I thought it could be an accident. He accidentally kills him and then he gets a taste for it. Maybe that would have been a better route for it to happen. But him just going, pointing the gun, shooting, it's like, look at me, I'm suddenly a psycho now.
Yeah. I think,
and then talking about him showing up in the parents' house, I was already pissed off because the fact that she just let the dad off, even though he'd clearly been beating her mum, this whole time, and he just got an easy way out. And then as soon as the dad comes back in the house, he's all remorseful, whatever, and they're just like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And he's so nice to this guy.
I agree entirely. That like, made no sense.
You fuck. It's like, you're so horrible, and now you're suddenly, I'm a really nice guy to this Ron Silver.
I agree. It made no sense. His character had a complete transformation. It was. Yeah. I think it was a very lazy and stupid choice to have her take her dad out as if she was going to arrest him, which was satisfying in the moment. But then when you realise it was just an excuse for her to leave the house with him, so that you could have the scene of Ron Silver being there waiting, that was a lazy choice. However, I enjoyed that moment when she walked into the house and Ron Silver's there. Like I say, I was literally like, oh my God. I said it out loud to myself. It's like, that's how in the moment I was like, this fucker's working for me, man. This is working. And look, I'm not disagreeing with you guys entirely. I do think, yes, there was a certain point in the movie, I can't remember when it was, but I thought, look, this guy, he's so obviously some sort of creep. It escalates only because he found a gun. He surely had it in him before, but, I don't think we're introduced to him 5 minutes into the movie, so we can't have any breadcrumbs. So our access point is this moment. The key inciting event is her shooting this guy dead in the grocery store. We're not given anything to go on before then, because our only introduction is to her. So that is our entry point for Eugene. So we have to just assume how he was beforehand. And I think by showing the environment that he lives and works in, it goes some way to explaining why he would go down that path. Does he become a bit of a caricature by the end, screaming and roaring and whatnot? Yes, he does. But I'm entertained and bought in enough to the film by that point that I can enjoy it. But
I think
just
it is
like
a film
Corey,
of how much you believe him. I think she's just incredible in this film. I really enjoyed watching her, and it's also nice because I've been really seeing her in probably the Halloween films and then Knives Out and Everything Everywhere. And it's nice to see her in like a new role in that era that was kind of her time. And she was fantastic, and I enjoyed her massively. And I thought she was the best thing by far in a film that was a bit cheesy, was a bit sleazy in places. It had its moments, but it really didn't nail anything.
I think that goes a long way in with Jamie Lee Curtis, doesn't it? When she is the emotional heart of everything, and you're believing her completely, and like she has a journey that she goes on, and you're with her every step of the way. And then with this Ron Silver guy, it's more of a leap of judgment. You just got to be like, okay, I wasn't with this guy from the beginning, and now I've just got to believe he's where he is. That's where his mind is right now.
Can I just say, I love Jamie Lee Curtis's commitment to short hair. Apart from Laurie Strode, I think almost every single movie she's in, it's the short hair. I love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes a little bit longer, a little bit more, but it just never really goes over her ears.
No, it doesn't. And she was great in this because, like, every time, you know, the thing, let's move away from Ron Silver. We know where everyone stands on that. On the Jamie Lee Curtis front, it worked its sort of sexism angle, if you want to call it that, institutionalized systemic sexism angle quite well, because it wasn't over, it wasn't like really obvious. It wasn't like her colleague was like, you damn broads can't handle a gun. Nothing like that. It was as simple as her boss just not having her back in that moment, which is frustrating, yes, and frustrating to viewers who are on her side, but it's frustrating. Her dad, who's like, being a cop, it's like, is it sexism? Is it that his daughter should actually be in a decent job and be busy getting a man? Or is it that it's he just hates cops, but it can be viewed as sexism? And the little minute sexist things, this is real sexism, is her best friend, who obviously loves her, being like, oh, let me get you a man, because her friend can only conceive of her life being, oh, you've got to have a man.
Yeah.
And I've got a man and 2 kids, let me set you up with this guy. And then this guy's a fucking jerk who doesn't like the fact that she's a cop and says all these stupid things. I love that she fucking jerks that guy around as well when he's like, oh, why did you want to become a cop? And she's like, I just want to smash people's face into things.
Yeah. I did like the angle when she went with things like that.
And even Tom Sizemore as well, when she blows him away, before she blows him away, he's like, he almost sneers at her. He's like, oh, get out of my face, baby. Like demeaning her. All of these little things.
I agree. It all worked. With her side of the story, it all worked for me. It all worked. It's just both sides of the coins aren't good. That's like only one side is for me.
I mean, there was a different film that could have happened, which is before Eugene went fully unhinged. I thought we were going to see this, like, 2 parallel stories running. One is Jamie Lee Curtis facing these charges and not being believed and being dismissed from the force, and her having to struggle with that. Parallel, seeing Eugene and his day-to-day work and getting more and more obsessed by the gun. And I thought it was going to culminate in something at the end. So the fact that he killed early was a surprise, and it shifted the gears. And then the fact that he was waiting for her shifted his character again, because it's like, oh, not only does he want to kill, he also now wants to play this game with her. And then it shifted again when he revealed it all to her halfway through the fucking movie. And then it shifted again by killing the friend and coming back like Michael Myers, like a new Michael Myers. It was fucking bizarre and wild, man. Every time I thought I got the beat of it threw me off.
I do agree with you in that sense, yeah. Especially when he goes and kills the friend. I was like, okay, we're going in a direction that's actually shocking me now and making me feel like his character's actually a threat. I think that was the moment. Like him like scampering through the forest trying to bury the gun and all that stuff. I was like, ugh.
I mean, that was strange. I don't know why he had to bury the gun. Why not just take it home with him? We all know okay.
Yeah. And it's got a really weak ending.
Yeah, it did have the ending was just a bit like, That's what I'm kind of saying. There wasn't a lot of thought into a lot of this film. Like,
I didn't understand, right? It went from her in the hospital and knocking out a policeman, right? She's going to get done for an assault anyway, but...
she doesn't care. She wants to kill the man who killed her best friend.
But then she's just suddenly walking through a train station.
Who raped her.
She suddenly walking through a train station and then just turns around and he's there, and it's like, have you arranged this meetup? What's going on?
It's not that she'd arranged that meetup. It's that she knew that he would follow her wherever she went. And that opening scene, the training exercise, the guy says to her, in this job, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head, and then it cuts to the opening credits. The minute that opening scene happened, I was like, right, at the end of this film, she's going to have eyes in the back of her head, which she does, because she spins on a spot and plugs
I was waiting for someone to be a bad guy she didn't know. That's what I got from the first scene. that she would kill someone, then there'd be another person with a gun that she thought was not a threat.
I wrote this down, right? What was it? So you remember the scene? Of course you know. After he's running around digging for his gun in the dirt, like fucking Wolfman. That's what he's like at that point.
Yeah.
And she has the gun on him, and no, she doesn't. She has her gun on her chest, and she's like, "Come on, make a move for it." And then Nick comes up behind her, and is like, "What's going on? You can't do anything to him." And she's like, "I just want him to take my gun," because she knows if he reaches for that gun, they can blow him away. And instead, Eugene runs off. Right at that point, I paused the movie, and I saw there was 20 minutes left. And here I wrote, right, what do I want to happen next? I wrote what I expect to happen, and what I want to happen. So.
Right.
In expect, I wrote her to blow him away as she catches him out in a final situation. What I want to happen is for him to blow himself away, or there be some sort of bitter twist, like he dies, but before dying or in the process of dying, he's also killed someone very close to her or incriminates her or something like that. And what I got, as what we all got, was what I expected. But in a way that I very much enjoyed, because it did feel like a slasher showdown in a way by that point. I liked how it had morphed into that kind of film. It was a little
bit, but it just felt a very cheap and a very just ending. And it just ends with her in the car. It's like, is she in trouble still for like killing this guy? Or has she got away with everything? Everyone's
she ain't going to be in trouble.
Like,
he's just been firing shots in front of everyone
in New
York.
The way that he takes the gun away from her is like he's about to arrest her.
No, I think it's just protecting her at that point, I think.
Yeah, I did feel like the policeman came there as if he needed to like take the gun away from her, and like because he didn't understand the situation. But I guess that's what a policeman would do, though. If you're approaching the situation, you don't know the two people who are in an altercation.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe she is going to be in trouble for it because she was meant to be in hospital and knocked out a cop.
Yeah. The biggest flaw is fucking Ron Silver, man. I can't get past him, and that's what ruins the film for me at the end of the day.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, I could get past half the stuff that happens in this film if it wasn't him.
Well, I enjoyed his performance very much, and I wasn't sure if I was going to when he started going fully mad. I agree that I didn't like him suddenly being rapey. That felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was very sudden.
But
I didn't expect that. And he literally did rape her, didn't he?
He did. But then, like, it was combined with her like booting him off and him like roaring, almost like they did something in the sound mix to make his like shout of anguish distorted to almost make him monstrous. Like he really was running around like Wolfman in that last half hour. But I think if that had been a male director, it would have really been uncomfortable. But it's Catherine Bigelow. So it's a female directing another female in a rape scene. So you've got to think that she, whether it was executed well or not, thought that the situation called for it. Natural. I mean, it certainly makes you hate Eugene much more at the end and really want him to go because he does that. But we've obviously seen him murder, but by raping as well, you really want him to get his after that.
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, I didn't like it though. I don't necessarily like that scene. I don't know whether you can like that scene or think it's. I didn't think it was necessary.
No, I don't think so.
No. But
that's why there are these flaws in it.
I don't know, man. Ron, it's kind of at the point when I was watching it, I was like, do I actually really not like this man this much, or is it kind of just become a thing because I've fed up that I've seen him in 2 films consecutively?
Possibly. I'd never seen him in anything before.
Yeah, he's literally. I think these two, this and Time Cop are the biggest films he's really done, and I think that's like that's probably why he never got brought back. Maybe other people hated him too. Like what he was in. Oh no, wait, he's been in Romancing the Stone.
He was a 90s guy then.
Yeah, he was in The Entity.
I've seen Entity, but I can't remember him in that.
Ali as well, 2001. That's his best film, but I'm sure he was a very small role. He was Angelo Dundee. Whoever that is. Yeah, Romancing the Stone. Man, yeah. It's an odd one that some person can just ruin a film for you, but that's what happened.
It's a shame. But that's, a couple of films back to back where this has been the situation. For Adam, it was Corey, and for you, it's Eugene. Yeah. And I can get it on both fronts. I can understand how both characters could isolate you.
Yeah,
from the film. If you're not bought into, I've had it with many a film that you guys have liked as well. That's just it. If someone rubs you off the wrong way, it's makes or breaks. That's why it's a gamble. It's like, if you're the studio or you're the producers on this movie, then right, and you watch that first cut, and you've got 2 producers, and one producer saying, I really don't like this Ron Silver, he's destroying this movie, and the other producers so that's you, and I'm the other producer, and I'm going, I thought that would be the case, but actually by the end I really bought into him and enjoyed him. Then what's the answer? What do you do?
Yeah.
Is it a case of the actor or the character? Like if you had another actor playing that character, but they then performed in the same way, did the same thing.
That would make it better for me. In this situation, it would make it better for me.
So you had no problem with the character and what happened. It was just his performance.
Well, this is the thing. Because I didn't like him, I kind of started picking holes in everything else. Because I was just seeing it through a negative lens.
Yeah. This is a Patreon topic at some point. A film, like top 3 films that are good or not even good, but are absolutely ruined by one character you can't get past. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame.
We got a Patreon topic coming up. We could shove it in somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
what a shame.
It is a shame. I'm disappointed that the 2 of you didn't like it. I actually thought by the end of this, I think this is going to be a sleeper hit for all of us. So I am sad and sorry that you 2 didn't like it as much. Yeah, I did. I mean,
really you've been on a bit of a Jamie Lee Curtis binge, haven't you? So
yeah,
does it help that you've seen her in other films? It's like, well, this is definitely
I think
upper tier compared.
Yeah, you know why? Because I've realised that the thing is, Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress, but very often she's in not very good films, and it's like she's good in a bad film. I don't know why she picks a lot of bad films to be in, but not always, but quite a few. I want you both to say a thing that you really liked about this film that you haven't said so far, and I'll tell you something that I really didn't like about it that I haven't said so far.
Oh, something I liked about this film.
Yeah.
I just Jamie Lee Curtis is what I liked.
Well, what was your favourite scene of her, or what was the best bit of acting, or what?
I quite liked her. It's going to sound weird, but it would kind of sits with the endings of films. But the ending of the film when she's just sitting in the car, it was good. It was believable. Scene. It was and it was just like that moment of like you could tell that she was relieved, and there's the shock of like what comes next. Like she's still like one stage is over, but it's not the end of it yet. There's still more to go. Like silence, like the peace within the chaos, isn't she? She's like. She doesn't care now. Whatever happens to her after this, so be it. But she's got her peace.
Yeah.
I would say Clancy Brown I think he's a great actor anyway, but I feel like he has a very menacing quality about him. So you can always almost see him as a bad guy, and that's what he kind of portrays himself as immediately. Like he looks like her kind of nemesis in The Office, but then his acting's so great that you kind of warm to him by the end. Yeah. And it's like as he's warming to her, you're warming to him, and it's like, yeah, man, you actually you put the work in and made me actually like your character.
Yeah, I'll add to that then as my negative. Which I really liked his character as well.
Oh, and I agree with the negative then. Yeah, go on.
What I'm going to say, is that he has her back. He's supporting her. But then the minute that they fuck, romantically kiss, it's like, that wasn't necessary. Surely we can see men being a friend, a supporter, without wanting to fuck her, surely. And that undermined things a bit. And I didn't like that as like... It was almost like used as an excuse to then force Eugene to jump out and rape her. I didn't like that. So I think my main problems with the film are these contrived situations that lead to a setting. It's like, he's got to do that so that Eugene jumps out and rapes. Jamie Lee Curtis has got to take her dad away so that when she comes back to the house, Eugene's waiting.
Absolutely agree. Unnecessary, that bit as well.
But the thing that works overall about the film for me is like all of this shit... It's just because a woman tries to make it in a man's world. And I know that sounds like, a woman trying to make it in a man's world, she can't. But it's like, it's deeper than that. It's like, she just wants to do a job. Her family, her dad turns back on her, friend dismisses her, just needs a nice man.
I feel like they could have laid up the dad a little bit more anyway, as well, because I feel like him just saying, "Oh, you're a policeman." It's like, why? Why is that such a big no-no for you?
But like I say, like it could have been one of two things. It could be he just hates cops, or you could view it as his daughter being a police officer is of a great disappointment to him. Because it's like, it's a woman, as far as he's concerned, that is a woman overstepping her mark.
Yeah. But it's just he hates cops because he beats his fucking wife. He's a fucking disgusting human.
That too. Yeah. He doesn't like justice.
Yeah. He doesn't like authority. I'm the authority in this house.
Yes.
You gross piece of shit.
But you're totally right. In that he has a fucking personality transplant once he returns to that house and Eugene's there. And that is bad writing, bad plotting. Yeah. To make her dad like, oh yeah, no, sure, come anytime. Sorry, it's good to see you. It's like, lovely to see you. You couldn't care less for your daughter, so why would you care for your daughter's so-called friend who's now in here? You know what I liked is, what was it? When Eugene and Jamie Lee Curtis are in that scene, and he touches his breast pocket and says, I've got...
Yeah, that was good.
A cough. What was it? A cough or something like that. And then Jamie Lee Curtis touches hers and is like, yeah, me too. Something going round or something like that. Just to make it clear that they are both packing in that moment. I liked that.
That was a clever scene. Yeah, sure. I agree with that.
And also, you mentioned it in your review, and I think we should repeat. The music was very good in it because it was like these sort of like very ghostly.
Yeah, like pipes, like.
Yes. Yeah, and it really worked for me. That did, and it went with that blue lighting, and that way that they shot the gun in the opening credits, where they were real close to it. It was like, it's not sexualizing it. It felt very cold and distant, but there's so much close-ups on it. It was like, all those. The bullets going into the barrel, it was like, look at this thing that is the cause of such obsession for this man, but also for fucking Americans obsessed with their guns, like life with a gun.
If you could call that score anything, you would call it Blue Steel. It's like literally that cold.
Absolutely. Is Blue Steel the name of the move in Zoolander?
It is, yes.
Oh. Funny. We never made that connection until now.
Yeah, I did know that, but I thought that's just me with my little Zoolander quirk.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that. And what do you think about the graphicness of the gunshots? Because they're quite dramatic. Yeah, they're not particularly realistic.
Good squib work. Especially on the Tom Sizemore kill.
Yeah.
She really blew him away. Yeah, it was all right. Fine.
I liked it. I thought that the way that they portrayed it, because at first when Tom Sizemore was blown away like that, I was like, oh man, why is it such an over the top kill? But then every time we saw these guns going off, it was more about the over the top aesthetic
because of
it
power
being,
they hold, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A reminder that these things that people can obsess with and carry around casually cause such devastation and destruction.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll tell you what I really liked at the end. I really liked at the end when she's up on the street after the subway and like people are like panicking and whatnot, and you just see that hot dog cart shuffling across the road and you can see his feet behind it. I was like, oh man, I like this.
That was a good moment.
It was
shuffling behind it.
Yeah, shuffling behind.
That hot dog war is not going to save him, sorry.
No, that hot dog war is not going to save him. It really was a film with two halves, because the first half was very much drama, psychological drama, and then it shifts into more of a thriller aspect. And I dug it. But it has its problems and whatnot, but there you go. Let's hear your final thoughts, Adam. Not your rating.
Yeah, I just think she's fantastic, but the rest of the film is a bit lazy and not very well made and not convincing enough to back up how good she is.
Not very well made. Good
I feel there's too many holes in it, and it's all a bit just yeah.
Well, dear me, you've been very harsh in the last few films we've reviewed, I think.
Yeah.
All right, shall we just do our wrap-ups then? Shall we do our scores?
I'm ready.
Okay. Adam. Oh, no. Yeah, Adam.
Yeah. I'm going to give this film a 5 out of 10. And all of those points are for Jamie.
5 out of 10 from Adam. It is an 8 out of 10 for me. I would love to rewatch this again. I would love to rewatch this with Jenny as well. I had a great time with it. I thought it was a very good piece of work from Catherine Bigelow, and I thought that Jamie Lee Curtis is in one of her best performances. So I thought it was great. 8.
Just as I said, this is a film of two halves. One side of the coin is great. One side of the coin is very bad. So it might as well get a 50-50 split. I'm also on a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Listeners, that means it averages at a 6. And I got news for you. I cannot believe this. Once again, a travesty has occurred on the Filmbusters podcast.
Whoa, it's all the way down there.
It is... Unless it beats the other 4 films that are rated a 6, it will go into our bottom 20 films covered on this podcast, which is an absolute fucking travesty. So let us go through. It is a travesty when you look at the other 6. So here we go.
No, because I like those films better.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, but does Adams. We have to go. So the bottom 6, Shazam. This is better than Shazam.
Shazam's better.
I think... I can't remember what I gave Shazam, but going off feeling, I would say this is...
You gave Shazam a 6, so that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Shazam's better.
I think this is
I've logged Shazam as a 4 out of 10
miscarriage.
at the moment now, so...
This is a gross miscarriage of justice. It goes in as the new 17th spot in our bottom 20, meaning that the films worse than it are Shazam... only films better than it in our bottom 20 are Shazam, Rise of Skywalker, and Super Mario Brothers. What that means is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom comes out of our bottom 20 and into the main of our thing. I am shocked and chagrined, folks.
And it also means that this is Ben's first ever film in the bottom 20 of all time.
Ooh.
Wow.
Look at that. You were trying to avoid it, but we got you. We got you.
Wow. I cannot believe...
I'm fully fledged in the bottom 20. I love being down here.
I cannot believe that it's gone down into that bottom 20. I think that is devastatingly harsh.
That is pretty nuts
for this
to look
film.
on that low, but yeah, it's Ron Silver's fault. What can I say? Ron Silver has a lot to answer for.
Some of the things that we've covered this year that have gotten better than that. Dear Paul, you gave Hard Target a 6.
Yeah, I'd probably watch that over this.
Oh, Jesus, mate. Adam, you give Hard Target a 6. Oh, God, this is
We stand by our word, man.
This is a dark day.
Stand
I think this is.
by your word.
I think this is the worst call
That's
of the year,
the thing,
as far as I'm
it-
concerned.
It's really like hard target is bad, but at least it's like got a little bit of like stupidness about it. You can kind of like be like, okay, this is dumb, and that's the only reason I'm enjoying it. Where this is just like I'm hating Ron Silver the whole way through.
Paul, you just said Hard Target is stupid and dumb. In what world does that make that a better film than Hard Target, which isn't trying to be stupid or dumb?
No, I said hard target is stupid and dumb.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, how is it better than this, which is not trying to be stupid and dumb?
Oh, because I hate Ron Silver. I'd rather have something silly than have something I'm hating.
Yeah.
Right?
Killer. Absolute killer. Adam, you are on a terrible run in my books. Halloween Ends a 4. Blue Steel a 5. Super Mario Brothers a 3. I'm not sure we can be friends much longer.
This is this is the difference, right? Yeah, you just said Super Mario Bros. As if that was supposed to be better than this. I agree. Super Mario Bros is better, but Adam, how do you feel that Super Mario Bros is actually like higher than Blue Steel?
Yeah.
I actually, in a weird way, would rather rewatch Super Mario Bros. Than this.
Well, in some ways, I probably would as well. Like, just
there you go.
Out of interest, folks, let's see if I would have saved it. Those bottom films, Shazam, it's better than that. Skywalker, it's better than that. Super Mario Brothers, I would have to think about that. It's better than Jurassic World for me. Super Mario Brothers, I don't know. I'd have to live with this film a little longer to know if it was better or not, to be honest. Paul will ask me in the coming days so that he can put it in our individual rankings that we don't reveal to you guys, and I'll have to have a think about whether or not it's better than Super Mario Brothers. I'm unsure at this moment in time.
That'll be an exciting day when I find out. But
But
the
I
end
will
of
tell
Blue
you, it's
Steel,
better
man.
than Wild at Heart, as far as I'm concerned.
No. It's not.
For me, it's better than Wild at Heart.
That's all of our opinions.
Yeah. That's just your opinion, man. Well, that is the end of it. We've actually got one review from one of our very good friends on Twitter and one of our very good patrons. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
This is from Mr. Luke Human, and he says, set in the last ages of New York's crime era, Blue Steel is drenched in an atmosphere that is weirdly comforting. A great premise, but the Bateman-esque Eugene is not fully explored, and the final act strays unexpectedly into bad erotic thriller territory. Good, but not great. Should we see what he gave that film?
I reckon that sounds like a 6 or a 7 to me.
He gave it a 7. You're correct.
Nah.
There you go. But yes, kind of the same problems that me and Adam have a bit, really.
Yeah.
But we just heightened the problems on our end.
Yeah, I think we've touched on this in the past before about I don't like as much explanation as to why someone is a certain way.
Yeah. I like
Which
to
is
explore
probably why I enjoyed
someone-
it more.
Yeah, I like to explore it. That's what I get a kick out of.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes.
Or not with Michael Myers, really. I like the psychology behind like what other people think about him, like Jamie Lee Curtis thinking about why she's being followed by him. But I don't necessarily need it of him. But mostly, I like a good kind of study on a villain. That's better for me.
I agree. A study on a villain is very interesting, but it depends what the film is. Like if you've got, here's one. 7.
Yeah.
We don't really have a backstory for John Doe. We don't know why he is the way he is or how he is that way, but he's such a great character. We don't need it.
Yeah, it's because his plot is better than the actual villain. It's like the thing he's doing is the amazing thing.
Yes. Okay.
Well, there you go. There you go. I guess we got to tell everyone what we're doing next episode now. The last film of our 1990 run.
Yes.
Yeah, it's another patron pick, isn't it?
Yes. We got a little bonus patron pick from the guy who literally just gave us a review. This is from Mr. Luke Human, and we are going to a 1990 horror from Tom Savini. We're doing Night of the Living Dead, the remake.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
Neither have
I have seen it. I won't tell anyone how I feel because I've seen both the original and this one. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting talk. I look forward to seeing what you think, Ben, because you hold the first one up very high, don't you?
Yeah, as a little prelude to next week, listeners, I think it is going to be interesting because Paul, away from the podcast, Paul and I have had a back and forth, can't remember when, about his thoughts on the original Night of the Living Dead and mine. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm going to have to rewatch the original as well, so I have it as a comparison in mind. I would suggest, I mean, you don't have to, and we're not going to talk about the original, but I would recommend, Adam, if you haven't seen the original, to also watch the original as well as the remake.
Original, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to rewatch it before watching the remake, I think.
Beautiful. And that's that. And that'll be the end of our 1990 round.
The original is on BBC iPlayer.
Good.
Look at that.
And then you can all prepare for me to name Eugene as my favourite character from these round of films. I don't know what Detective John Kimball will think about that, but there you go.
Oh, how can you pick him over Kimball, man?
It's because Kimball's too obvious. You know I give Kimball a 10 out of 10. I love the man, but I need to stray away from that. We'll see.
He's second place.
Eugene is speaking to me right now, so...
Well, that's the end of the review. So let's move on to what our patrons have to say this week. Just so you guys know, our Patreon channel at www.patreon.com/filmbusters. Our patrons get to say what they've been watching the past week or so, and whether they're good or bad, and just let us know whether we should watch them or avoid them.
Good.
You can become a patron, just for £1, as we just say. But you can also become a patron, just like the likes of Mr. Jason Clarkson, who's just very nicely upgraded his tier. It was all very nice. Thank you, Mr. Jason Clarkson.
Yes, he is now the top man. We also have one of our other new patrons, Francis Siberini.
J. Francis Siberini.
I went to say Jason again, but...
Cheers, Francis. You should also be checking out his YouTube channel as well.
He likes to talk a lot of shit.
Plug that.
He's currently talking about things he hates that people do in films.
Very good. We also have Andy Bishop, Paul's holiday honeymoon friend.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. We have Mr. Ben from Film Floggers.
We've also got Mark and Steve from Movie Drone.
We do. Who we've insulted with our hairdo chat recently. Yeah. We have Home Video Hustle, all the way from the US, still showing love.
Yes.
We have next week's pick, patron, Mr. Luke Human.
Yes, we also have Fiona Stewart.
We have Sean Panda Nicholson, the gent himself.
We have Mr. Nerdrovert, all the way from Albuquerque, but then he moved somewhere. I can't remember where.
I think he moved to Albuquerque.
He was
from
in
Texas,
and then he went to Albuquerque. We haven't done that in so long, I forgot the order. I forgot which one he moved to.
The man who is still in Texas, though, is Julio.
Yes, that's correct.
He's still in Texas. The man who's rocking the Baccarat blind hoodie for us, it's Jamie Russell.
Yes, and lastly, we got Katie and Oti from the For Your Reference podcast, all the way in Australia.
Yes, what a lovely bunch of people.
Good
yes,
Lord.
Indeed.
That's a lot of patrons.
Right, so first of all, Sean Panda Nicholson sent in his picks for this week, and he has said, I've only got one recommendation, and it's Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons. It's a gorgeously animated, lovely film with Big Daddy Batman and Big Daddy Supes taking a back seat to Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent as they square off against the evil Starro. It's generally disturbing in parts, and I just plain loved it. Massive thank you to Paul for recommending it. And guess what? We're going to be talking about it very soon on the Patreon episode.
On the Patreon episode? Oh, right, okay, I see. Because you give it love. You give it that much love, do you?
Hell yeah, boy.
This is animated, is it?
It's an animated one. You can hear about it on the Patreon. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it then. Next up is Jamie Russell, who says Thief is a top-tier Michael Mann film, and I can't believe that I left it for so long. It would make for an interesting comparison with Heat, which was apparently written around the same time, as it shares many of its themes and has similar central criminal protagonists. It also shares the same immaculate attention to detail, which is fully realised in the heist sequences. It also has a fantastic synth score from Tangerine Dream. Check it out. Do you know what's funny about that is at times watching Blue Steel, I was like, this reminds me of Heat, the aesthetic does, because Heat has that blue throughout as well. And also Michael Mann's approach to things is kind of like a slightly cold, distanced look at these situations, and that's what this film felt like at times.
You get that in a kind of police procedural kind of, like the blue, go with the blue for the police's uniform.
I do.
Yes.
I'm reading Heat 2.
How is it going?
I'm enjoying it. It's quite a thick tome. Like, imagine reading the film Heat. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not super accessible. But I will reserve judgment till the end. It's hard to sink my teeth into. But every time one of the characters turns up, like Pacino or De Niro, it's great because it's like having them do a performance in my mind.
Lovely. Is it bouncing between like the past and the future?
Yeah.
Of the film? Yeah.
It bounces between 1988, immediately after the events of 1995, and then I believe it jumps to 2002.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. And Al Pacino is your main character?
No, funnily enough, Val Kilmer is.
Oh!
Yeah, they follow him immediately after he sort of turns and runs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's got legs in that story then, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So we'll see what happens there.
Beautiful.
I'll let you know at the end how it is.
Fan-bloody-tastic.
Yes.
Well, that's the end of the episode, guys.
Cheers. That was fun. Well, maybe not for you two.
Yes. It was fun to talk about it. Wasn't fun that fun. Well, it was fun to watch. It just wasn't that good.
Yes.
It was very good.
But yes, let's go record our Patreon episode now. And you guys can come over just for £1, just for one single £1, and you can come listen. And you can get some glorious content at the same time.
We love to see you there.
Other than that, we'll see you on Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And round out 1990.
Peace out.
Fieldbuster.